Man, dusting off my old PlayStation and popping in Metal Gear Solid took me right back to being a kid in the late 90s, sprawled out on the living room carpet, eyes glued to our clunky CRT TV. I was maybe 10 or 11, sneaking in game time after homework, completely obsessed with Solid Snake's world. Revisiting this 1998 classic now, it's like opening a time capsule. Nostalgia hits hard, but the game still holds up in ways that make me grin like that wide-eyed kid. Let me take you through why Metal Gear Solid was, and still is, pure magic. Back then, the idea of stealth was mind-blowing. I remember gripping that chunky PlayStation controller, trying to guide Snake through Shadow Moses without getting caught, hiding under a cardboard box, or flattening myself against a wall to avoid a guard's flashlight felt like I was pulling off a heist. The game was tough though. Those top-down controls could be so finicky. I'd mess up, set off an alert, and panic as guards swarmed in with that blaring music. My little brother would laugh his head off every time I got spotted, but nailing a perfect sneak felt like I was the coolest kid on the block. I'd spend hours memorizing patrol routes, tapping walls to trick guards, or crawling through vents, feeling like a secret agent. The world of Shadow Moses was unreal to me as a kid. I can still picture the snowy fields and those creepy industrial hallways, all gritty and alive on that tiny screen. I'd shiver when Snake's footprints showed up in the snow, freaking out that a guard might notice. The details blew my mind, like how guards would yawn or talk about random stuff. I'd sit there, controller in hand, just listening to them, feeling like I was in a real place. My dad once caught me playing at midnight and was like, "Why are you hiding in a box?" I tried to explain it was strategy, but he just shook his head.
You were lucky. We'll meet again.
The story? Oh man, it was like a movie I couldn't stop watching. I didn't fully get all the talk about war and nukes back then, but I was hooked on Snake's gruff voice and the way everyone on the codec had their own vibe. Meryl's courage, Otacon's nerdy panic. It all felt so real. I'd beg my mom for just one more cutscene before bed, and those fourth wall breaks. When Psycho Mantis read my memory card, I screamed and ran to tell my brother. We spent days talking about it, convinced the game was haunted. The plot twist hit me hard, too. I remember tearing up at the ending, hiding my face so my family wouldn't see. Those boss fights were everything. Sniper Wolf's duel in the snow had me so stressed, my hands were sweaty, and I kept missing shots. I'd cheer out loud when I finally beat her, waking up our dog. Vulcan Raven's tank fight was another one. Chucking grenades while dodging bullets made me feel like an action hero. And Metal Gear Rex? I still get chills thinking about that showdown. Each boss was like a puzzle, and figuring them out made me feel so smart even if it took me dozens of tries. It wasn't all perfect though. The camera drove me nuts as a kid. I'd die because I couldn't see a guard around a corner and I'd throw my hands up, whining about how unfair it was. Running back and forth across the same areas also got old. I remember groaning every time I had to trek through the armory again. And some of those codec calls, I'd mash buttons to skip them, just wanting to get back to sneaking. But those flaws didn't ruin it. They were just part of the adventure. Playing it now, I'm amazed at how Metal Gear Solid shaped me. It wasn't just a game. It was my first taste of a story that made me think, of characters I cared about, like friends. I'd pretend I was Snake at recess, sneaking around the playground. That sense of being part of Hikawa Bigger, of outsmarting impossible odds, stuck with me. It's why I still love games today. So yeah, Metal Gear Solid is a legend. It's got its quirks, dated controls, some repetitive bits, but it's a time machine to a simpler era. If you've got a PlayStation lying around, dig it out and give this a shot. It's not just a game, it's a memory of being a kid, dreaming big and feeling like you could save the world.